All right, here we are, another week around the trash fire with your host Mathias, along with the boy
John.
and the returning boy.
Will,
Welcome back, Will.
I feel very welcome.
You've been missed.
That's what you say, but wait until I start talking,
Did
and
you-
then you will remember what it was like in the good old days of last episode.
Back when we had square bases in this podcast.
Why, it is true that I was not able to make the big kill team reveal and orcs reveal discussions. No, I did enjoy. The reviews you covered.
Hmm.
I have brought something special to the table about those orcs. It's something rare in our hobby. I have brought today factual information.
Oh,
Whoa.
I have facts.
we don't deal in facts here.
Oh, but it's too late because I'm already here.
Oh,
Wait, did you watch that episode?
I did.
How disturbed were you listening to me praise these orc models?
It's like a terminal illness, like we saw coming a long time ago. As soon as they shut off those Boys, John started saying, maybe orcs are okay.
Orcs are cool.
And now the dementia has set in, and it's okay. I have greenskins in AOS. It's completely fine that you would have greenskins in 40k. But on the topic of said greenskins,
yes.
did you know that since 2018 October, orcs have received 23 new kits?
I didn't
Do you know how many kits Space Marines have received since 2018 of the fall?
Let's say 15.
24.
Hmm.
So clearly,
Wait, how many did orcs get?
23 new kits, John.
Dang.
So the reason being, they got in October, 2018, they got 6 brand new vehicle kits that were not multi kits. 2020 of March, they got Gazgul. And then this year, they're getting a stupidly large amount of models. The Orc release is just a couple kit. This particular release is like 2 kits short of the Necron release. And that's including all the Necron promo models and stuff too. Like I made like an exhaustive search because I was like, this is a lot of stuff. It's orcs have gotten more models since 2018 than Chaos Space Marines,
That's
which is incredible. And it's crazy how many of them are brand new things that are like not based in any existing anything. They've only gotten 7 resculpts, and pretty much everything else, like the other like kits, there's like 19 new kits or something, if you include those 6 buggies. It's pretty unbelievable.
so Space Marines received 24 and orcs got 23.
Yes. Now,
And Space Marine bias right there.
to clarify though, if you do include the special characters from the other Space Marine chapters, that number is much higher. Because then you get Castellan Crow, Ragnar, Mephiston, Calgar, a couple other things. So it's not exactly true, but for just Codex Space Marines, including Indominus, Shadow Spear, all that stuff, maybe Orktober finally came.
Whoa.
It just took a while.
Oh, October and July.
It was just this, very slow pre-order period. Maybe if they had said back then, like, hey, October, we're going to let you know that in 3 years you're going to have a lot of models.
Well, they got released what? July 3rd, right?
The reveal, yeah.
It was revealed.
I think
right.
the reveal was last week. But yeah,
And you're counting the commandos, right?
I'm counting the commandos.
Got it. Oh, did you count the special limited edition orc guy?
No.
Oh.
The same amount of releases as Codex Space Marines. I forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
Oh wait, do we count the Black Gobo? The Christmas release?
He's an orc, man.
He's plastic.
the plastic one.
Wait, then
yeah.
there's 25 kits since 2018. It's confirmed, folks. Orcs have received more plastic kits than Codex Space Marines since 2018.
I take it back. Orcs obviously have more bias now.
The favoritism is unbelievable. When will GW just stop making orc releases and just remember that Space Marines exist too?
For Ultramar, I mean, come on.
I mean,
Where's-
this is insulting.
Where's my new Bobby G model? Primaris Bobby G.
New sculpt of Gilliman.
That's crazy. I didn't know any of that though.
Those were the facts I wanted to share with you today. But it's frankly insane. I mean, there's something like 4 resin metal kits that are left for orcs, and they're all like character models and tank bustas. But yeah, the greenskins got their day.
I'll be sure to title this section Will's Facts of the Day.
It's facts of the day.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
You know, who doesn't want to know a little bit of news like that?
We don't often get to play in absolutes like the Sith when we talk about Games Workshop because there's so much cloak and dagger. But this time we can tell it like it is.
Bam.
Though John is a better researcher than I am because I'd completely forgotten about Gorzag Ironbutt and the Black Gobo.
Yes. Well, shall we get into the little news that we have today?
I mean, we must.
We must indeed.
It's our job.
So the first one, we're gonna start off with the Sunday preview. You know, something we can look forward to pre-ordering this week, which is just gonna be the 3 different starter sets, which kind of looked over last week. But we need your opinion, Will. What do you think of these sets?
So they're interesting. The big one, the Extremist Edition, does seem like if it's priced similar to the Elite Edition, I believe is what the 40K one is called, it's going to be a good value. It's going to be something that's really great for people who like want to get terrain and like don't have anything and they can just start the hobby.
They're the same price. The prices were leaked to retailers. They're the exact same as the 40K equivalents.
Oh, I did not know that. Then I think they're actually probably worth a little more value. The smallest version of the box is a great value then. That's crazy.
I like how it's the orcs and not the hobgoblins.
Yeah, it makes sense. But then you get some hobgoblins later. Also, they're called hobgrots.
Hobgrots, please.
No. Matt, you're gonna edit that out, of course.
I can't have a bigot like this, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we're only gonna use the proper terms.
Exactly.
Just want you to know that the schedule I was sent today referred to a model as a T-Sun's Sorcerer. That is not the name of the miniature.
Did I say T-Sun Sorcerer?
Well, it's the text that I got from John anyway.
Oh, okay.
It says T-Sun model, not even T-Sun Sorcerer.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's the Infernal Master, but we'll get to that. No, the starter sets are great.
Yeah.
The only thing that's kind of a bummer is that there's a unique terrain sprue in the big box.
So the rumor is that that's the new Stormcast terrain.
Oh, that would be really interesting.
Yeah. Which would, mean that Games Workshop hates orcs because they get no faction terrain. But
that's true.
No, that's just normal.
I guess it's not too late. That would be really interesting. If that's true, I'd be a little less annoyed about it.
We'll have to wait and see when this finally comes out. Pre-order this week.
It's nice to see that the spells are separate too. They did need to figure out a way to do that to get all of the universal endless spells to everybody. As some of those were locked in boxes that have been out of print for a while, actually.
Yeah, I agree. And also like having the new rules in there for people who want to pick these up.
Yeah, I've got to start out an endless spell later.
Oh, you do? Excellent.
I'm very disappointed. I'll leave it there until we get the hobby rants. But yeah, it's good to see that the endless spells are coming back. Let's see what else we got here. We got the McFarlane toys coming back. More more Space Marines, more sisters. Get it if you want for those collectibles.
Yeah, those are cool looking things. They're not my block of cheese, but like they're super cool for people who like them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of the Space Marine ones in person.
Yes, I have a friend who's got a couple of these,
Oh, cool.
so I have seen them. And then we got the Black Library, which would be more in your territories, but
Is it they're both re-releases, right? Nothing new.
I think Thunderstrike is new.
Oh yes, that's the
It's
new.
stuff.
That's probably the new like $8 anthology thing.
Yeah.
So that's something they do every edition. That they've been doing every edition since like 2016, where they'll just like come out with like a really cheap, really page-heavy book that they
Mhm.
basically sell at a loss to get people to pick it up at the counter and then read some more.
Right.
mhm.
Really cool concept. Pretty much like it's one of the most like inoffensive releases they can do. They're not always the most cracking reads, but for people who don't know anything, that's kind of who they're designed for.
That's me. I don't know what's going on in the lore.
I like that. Specifically, I said don't know anything.
Yeah, that's me.
That's me.
Yep, and then looking at their Warhammer line, looks like we're not getting any big reveals this weekend. Or, that they're gonna live stream at least. So
Which is okay.
it's
Yeah,
fine.
gotta space that out too.
No, of course. Well, it's just interesting that they went back to back on it. So yeah, so we got all that for pre-order this week.
Something that I'm pretty excited about is the new terrain for the Age of Sigmar starter set, because it's all the Dawnbringer Crusade terrain. You guys know about the Dawnbringer Crusades, right?
Nope. I don't know
I
anything
Uh,
about the lore, remember?
so basically, well, it's the new thing. So this is me getting to tell you about the lore of Age of Sigmar. So Dawnbringer Crusades are basically like an IKEA delivery service in the lore. So Sigmar and his homies build, they build like a city and they put it in a box and they bundle it up and they put it on you know, these big land ships.
These big gray sprues.
Yeah, and then they load them up. So you can see in the terrain that there's a bunch of things kind of bundled up. So they're like it's like a city, just add water basically. You go out and then
IKEA sets.
what'd you say?
IKEA sets.
Yeah, it's an IKEA delivery service. It's, you pay a little bit extra. You get some Stormcast with you for your humans and your gnomes or whoever else. Whatever poor sap's got to go out there and get murdered by forces of chaos, and they go and they build a city. And what's kind of cool is so when the new Dominion box came out, they came out with a novel by Darius Hinks called Dominion, which I dismissed immediately because I was like, it's Darius Hinks. He's a madman. So the book has like nothing to do with Dominion, like the box set. It's basically just about Dawnbringer Crusaders, and the book is actually amazing because it's basically like a horror story about how like normal people become Sigmarite fanatics,
Oh.
and like they just go and they build these cities, and like thousands of people, get eaten by monsters, and like get sucked under the marsh by you know demon worms and like tornadoes with arms and stuff like that. And it's just kind of crazy because this is hey, you get this in the starter set for Sigmar, but like the whole premise of the book is like the four Sigmar thing is bad. So like when people go on the crusades in the lore, right, they're basically given absolution, like and in real life, when people like went to go across the seas, the church would say, hey, any crimes you committed before this, you're absolved of it, right? All of your sins are forgiven. Same thing with IKEA crusades. So what happens in effect is the day before the crusaders leave the city, there's just a mass murder and like debauchery and like crusaders burning down houses and like tearing apart like the common people, and like the stormcast just kind of sit there and like watch it happen because like hey, these are the devoted of Sigmar. So what I'm saying is like AOS is for like little kids.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Old fantasy is way more
Yeah.
not
So-
grimdark.
Yeah, because that's just outrageous. That's not grimdark at all.
No,
On a brighter note, Dawnbringer is also the Games Workshop sharing names between universes, right? So Dawnbringer is in the sci-fi setting. You guys know what Dawnbringer is?
No.
no.
So Dawnbringer is the hammer of Vulcan. At least in 30K, at least in the rule book, he uses a large blast template when he smashes some traders.
Vulcan created the Sigmarines. That's confirmed.
I don't imagine Vulcan would approve of what happens in the Dawnbringer Crusaders IKEA starter set.
Probably not.
It's also kind of cool because in the novel there's a character called the Dawnbringer who I wonder if they'll turn into a miniature.
Probably.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So that's hopefully the most you'll ever hear me blather about why the lore behind a terrain set is
That's
interesting.
really cool though. I like that because it makes the universe less one-dimensional, and the
Yeah.
Stormtroopers aren't just these good guys. It's grimdark, right? It's Warhammer. On the surface, they look like they're generic paladins, and the orcs are like the mean raiders. But it gets pretty scary once you start reading the books. If you could read.
If you can read. I do agree with your sentiment, but I also misheard you, and I heard you say that the Kruleboyz are the meme raiders, which I guess if you include Potgrot and their other tiny friends is a fair assessment.
That's
Yes.
true.
Well then,
But yeah, starter sets. Read about the books and build the cities.
learn about
Yeah.
learn about the Stormcast IKEA.
Yeah, Stormcast IKEA. You get no lingonberries or Swedish meatballs for you, but death and destruction and absolution of your sins if you brand a Sigmarite hammer into your forehead.
Or the Emperor.
Kid stuff. So moving on to other kid stuff. We got a new model Monday, because that's still a thing, even though they don't call it that. Oh wait, no, I'm jumping ahead. The event models are coming out for made to order. This Necron, Technomancer, and Sigmarine with a hammer.
Hey John, remember that time we stood in line for 11 hours to get an event exclusive miniature?
Yes. It's okay if she's still an event exclusive.
It's true. This is a head scratcher.
I think people just complained enough. That's like it's BS. And it's really telling that it's the Necron guy, which I'm assuming is probably there's probably more Necron players than Slaves to Darkness players. I would think.
I think he also has unique war gear.
Yes,
Yes, he does.
Rezard.
And the guy next to him was the mystery model that we found at the store that neither John nor I had ever heard of.
Yes.
So it appears that this was supposed to be his release, which is odd because there were only a few of him that were for sale. And I picked him up because I had no idea what he was. I couldn't find any, he was mentioned in a Warhammer community post in like 2019. And like I first saw him in the wild, just a couple months ago. It's really great that there's going to do a made to order for this. I wish they did this more often. So if your theory is correct, John, that this is the result of a public outcry, thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like because we talked about this with the Warhammer Plus thing, I feel like these are what's going to be given to the people who have Warhammer Plus, because these are models that are supposed to be given out at the GW tournaments, official tournaments. So I wonder if having Warhammer Plus now will guarantee you these models.
Interesting.
It's not an impossibility for sure. And they're both really cool, so it's nice that they'll be more available. Though those folks who paid $150 or more for Lord Hazmatef there
Well,
might be a little annoyed at the moment, but that's such is the risk, I suppose.
yeah, you never know, right? You never know if they're gonna bring back whoever.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, well, we got these two bad boys coming. Let's see. When are they coming out? They're gonna be available for 9 days. That much I remember. I just don't remember what day they come out.
Saturday, July 24th.
July 24th. So, yeah. So this Saturday, they'll
Yeah,
be
so I mean,
coming made to order.
if you pick up 20 or so Hazmatefs in about a decade, they'll be worth $150. So
Yes.
Someone will want it. Scalpers will be on it.
someone always does.
Yeah. So there we are. New exclusive models that are not really that exclusive since they're being made to order.
Still rare, just not insanely rare
Yeah.
anymore.
They're baiting out that limited edition stuff to get you to buy it as many as possible.
But as John
Probably
pointed out, the really cool one isn't available for made to order, so it's all good.
yeah.
It's all good.
I assume that they're doing this in preparation of the oversaturation of the models that they have, because they probably thought the COVID situation would probably be dead by now, and some places it's still kind of spiking back up, especially with all these variants. So they're probably like,
Yeah, and with the new edition out for COVID.
Yep.
yeah. So they're probably trying to mitigate their losses on it by making it a made to order kind of deal. My speculation, probably not true, but it's a good theory. But continuing on, new model Monday here. We got the a new Kruleboy shaman on a giant chicken.
It's kind of funny, because so we're gonna talk about a Thousand Suns model later, but some people were criticizing the model, saying, "Oh, it's GW is so lazy, they're just making another power armored. They can't make anything unique anymore." And then this guy shows up, and it's like, what? Hey guys, here's the second bird model that's on the large base Games Workshop has ever made. Super cool.
Yeah, I like could not deal when I saw this. Like I had that thing that happens in cartoons when like your jaw drops. Like I was like, oh, like I saw this and I could not believe it. Like this has been something that they've had like lore that's been hinting that this thing exists, but like it's such a such a fun model. It's so cool. And it also has like, particularly on the one that's not wearing a helmet, it has like an air of believability to it. Um, the fact that it's got two legs and it's just got two wings, like it seems like it's possibly a feasible creature that could exist, which I think helps a lot for like what Kruleboyz is kind of going for, of like a little more kind of down to earth, sort of gritty, for lack of a better word, take on the greenskins in AOS. This is so cool.
Yeah, it's a very interesting model, and I mean I'm not too familiar with the destruction, but I don't think they have many birds in their faction, right? Isn't it like dragons and reptile monsters usually?
So they got a tiny vulture in the Ogre Maw tribes, who's like a little hand vulture who flies out and bites you for a mortal wound. I assume this does slightly more damage than that.
Yeah, just a little peck.
I mean, it could turn out that he's like 3 attacks, 6 to hit, 4 to wound, no rend. But I haven't imagine he will be somewhat beefier than that.
Also, it's small for a monster, but I think that's just because it's not like bulky. I think it's gonna
Yeah,
be small.
No, the base is what elevates it up, right?
I think it's on. It looks to me like it's on 100 mil. So it's sort of like in the vein. Like the height is probably comparable to like some of the greater demons, but it's not a gigantic miniature.
Yeah.
I love the actual shaman writing it. Like is really cool too. I also like his backstory that his special power is he can speak any language. So he's the only guy who can talk to Kragnos, and no one else can talk to Kragnos or understand him. So they have to rely on Gobsprak, this shaman, to translate. So he can just pretty much say whatever he wants. That's a great like that's a great backstory for this character, I think. Also, the Lord of Change hand that's fused to his staff
That's
is so funny because, first of all, just the outrageousness of like he killed the Lord of Change somehow and then stole its hand and is using his magic powers to keep it, from fading out of reality, right? That makes me think that somewhere in the twisting, nether, there is a greater demon of Zinch out there with one less hand, and the most embarrassing explanation as to like what happened to it.
Special character incoming. Let's go.
One-handed Lord of Change, Gobsprak's rival.
There you go. And then we'll have two. We'll have two Lord of Change characters that we can play with.
I mean, Slanesh got multiple Keeper of Secret like things, so it could happen.
That's true.
The alternate build of this sculpt, I think, is really cool in a different way. I think it's a little less creative, but having a vulture wearing a traditional orc helmet is a pretty out there idea.
It is. This would be great for like back in if talking about like old world, like this reminds me of just like an HD orc war boss on a wyvern. I don't
Yeah,
think, but I can do those vibes kind of thing.
totally. And I think it's definitely like that was probably something they talked about when they were designing it, about like hey, like the orcs really got to have another two-legged winged thing that bites people that we can put an orc on top of.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely what this is. I think that a good thing they've done with this kit, comparing it to the most obvious sort of creature of this size, the Toralon that came out, which is this kind of sheep head goat flying thing for the Stormcast that came out a couple of years back. That's, I think, a cool kit too, but because the creature itself doesn't have an alternate head option, it's a little bit limited because the character version just has simply a different rider.
Mhm.
The change of head here totally changes like the dynamic of like the model,
Right.
which I think is really really a good call on their part.
I hope you could build the model, like have the war boss and then put the wizard bird head, vice versa. That'd be kind of cool, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be possible. In fact, I'm looking at it right now, trying to figure out how it could possibly be otherwise. Unless in some way the war boss's arm is like connected underneath the sprue to the helmet of the bird.
Hopefully not.
Which, I mean, I'm not a sculptor, so it's possible. But yeah, I mean, this is so cool. Uh, I'm pretty stoked about this.
Yes. As always, GW has produced beautiful monsters, especially for the AOS line.
Yeah, it's kind of just their playground to go crazy with it. There's also just some very impressive sculpt details of like, I didn't notice it at first, but now that I'm looking at it, the grot that's like poking his head through the banner on the shaman version of the miniature. And like once you see what he's actually doing, because I thought he was like wearing a hood or something, and now he's poking his head through, checking on the boss.
Yeah.
It's like giving him a radish or something.
Yeah.
It's just kind of it's a great little character beat of like this old wizened shaman. Presumably the grot is like giving him something he needs, but it's unclear what he's giving him because it's like a turnip or like a plucked chicken. I don't know. It's cool.
It's something he likes. Sure.
It's something he likes. I like that he's suggesting it's not something he needs. It's like bring me my favorite radish.
Kragnos
Yeah.
needs a radish.
Kragnos needs a radish. Absolutely. It's also just I think I'm just like predisposed to really like vultures. Just because like I think I've told you this, John, but like my mom is like crazy about vultures. Like there's like a bunch of vultures in the state of America that are like supported directly by my mom that like live in zoos. That, like my mom is basically like, okay, I will pay for this vulture to be alive, indefinitely. So like we have like a giant, 10-foot like vulture painting like in my parents' house. So like, yeah, Age of Sigmar got a vulture.
There you go. Paint it up. Give it to your mom.
I was debating doing that.
And then you can just paint a whole army for her, the vultures. And then you have another person that can play.
Like I was like legitimately trying to figure out, like, is there a way I can take the orc off the vulture? But probably not. It's just it's so badass and it's so weird and it's so out of left field.
Yeah.
Um, there's been a little bit of criticism online for just, I think, sort of how a lot of people think it's kind of derpy that it's not like a dragon. But it's clearly not just a bird either, because if you look at the legs, I don't know what's going on there, but like it's not just a normal animal.
I like that it's unique. End of the day, it's unique.
I like how
Yeah.
they said it's derpy. Have they seen the wyvern from Warhammer?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a derpy model.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't care if nostalgia kicks in or not. That model's derpy and horrible.
Yeah, it's got like that like spherical gut, and it just has this sort of upside down grin. I mean, the Maw Crusher is the best version of like the orc wyvern, right?
I would say so. It's a very up. It's like the HD one. I mean, I wish the wings were open, but I think they're trying to go for something different with that model as like this big bulky toad dragon thing. So
Yeah. It sort of imagine it doing a lot more gliding than actually much flapping, but yeah, it would be cool if the wings were open on that model. But it's sort of become iconic over the years.
Yeah, well, I mean, the model's big enough. Do we really need to have the wingspan out?
Yes, because that's so cool.
yes, cries and Star Trek.
I also just like, Magnus the Red and Mortarion be like, look at my enormous wingspan. Storm me if you dare.
Well, we can move on to the other model Monday that we got. As I put it in the schedule, T-Sun model. We finally get the long-awaited Infernal Master. That was teased back when they teased the Grey Knights versus T-Sun battle or announcement.
Yeah, because he's opposite Castle and Crow in that new box.
Yeah. So, going from what I understand here, what research I've done, he's basically going to be like Dark Apostle / Chaplain. So, he's going to be doing some prayers to buff up your units. And I'm a little disappointed, I must say. I was hoping for a little bit more, but that's when I realize what's going to happen, that it's going to be a Grey Knights versus T-Sun box set, it just comes crashing down that this is probably the only new model that T-Suns are going to get.
Probably, but I mean, I think that the Toons thing is going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I agree. I okay, taking what this model wants to be, it's a power armored HQ. That's unique. Like a new type of power armor HQ. I think it's great. The flames on the back are cool. The way he's kind of waving his hand, I haven't really seen that before, with like the magic coming in and the screamers.
Yeah, the little baby screamers are cool.
Yes.
I also like the article talks about them like the tutelaries from
Yeah.
the Thousand Sons and the Heresy. Actually, the only thing about this model that I'm not in love with, I think the flame braziers on his back, the position of the flames, the shape of the flames is a little distracting. I think I see what they're trying to go for, that like the flames are like in motion and that, like, there's like he's casting, a spell, so it's sort of, like causing the, metaphorical winds of change to blow around him. But I kind of wish the flames, I wish they both looked more like the one he's got on the left. It's just kind of a simpler sort of spike of fire. It makes the silhouette a little disorienting. Probably won't matter when the model's actually in the round and you can kind of look at it in a different way. But from this angle, I kind of having kind of trouble figuring out where my eyes should be when I'm looking at this mini.
Well, it's like what I said about Lord Croak, and I know you guys disagree with me on that one, but this model is a bit too busy. There's a few things they could have done.
I can acknowledge what you said about Lord Croak though, and I actually do really agree with John. The pose is really cool on this one, with the hand out. Like it's making a great use of the medium of plastic, particularly having those extra demons on there, and you could remove them if you didn't want to have them.
I'm probably gonna pick this up because apparently ADB straight up said this is the closest we will get to a Kaon model.
Oh,
He said that in his Facebook page. Like, yep, like this is the closest to Kaon that I've seen in model form, and it's awesome.
yeah, Bane in Black.
Yeah,
it's like
I'll definitely pick him up. Though honestly, I'll have to find someone who wants Grey Knights because I think that's the only way I'm gonna get this guy.
For
uh
now.
yeah.
But yeah,
I
for
know a
now.
guy. I'll let you know. I know a guy.
I don't know. Has a Hesperax, has she become available yet?
Yes, you can get her on by herself.
Okay, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm more Dark Eldar, and T-Suns are more of a side project, but it's no rush for me to go get them. But yep, here we are. This is the model that we've been hyping up for a while.
Now, my disappointment with this model is the fact that it's just another power armored HQ. I wish they made like a Terminator or something because we already have the Sorcerer box, the three
Yeah, the
HQs,
Exalted Sorcerers.
yeah, the sorcerers. So I really wish he was a Terminator type like HQ. I think that would have been super cool.
That would have also been breaking new ground too for the Thousand Suns because I can't think of many characters they have who are like in Terminator armor.
Right, right. That would have been cool. Not
So
again,
that
I'm
Mhm.
not glad. Or sorry, I'm not saying this guy was a bad idea. Just kind of like, oh, would have been cooler. If he was Terminator.
Yeah,
What were
probably
you
can't
saying?
do too much of a dynamic pose with the Terminator, unfortunately. But they want to really emphasize the whole space Egyptian magic of the T-Suns.
What were you saying, Will?
something that's interesting about this miniature is the screamers are obviously very very small, but you'll notice that they're not the baby screamers that we see on some of these like Zangor models. Like
Yeah.
screamers have a life cycle, which is interesting for demons, mostly because they're just like creatures that live in and like Zinch's labyrinth. So what's cool about this, what it's suggesting to me, is that like because the screamer behind is very small and like the screamer in front is sort of more formed, that like you know you can very easily imagine that within moments there could be like a full size screamer rolling out of that portal, right?
Oh yeah.
It has a very cool sense of motion, this model.
Well, he's communicates with the demons. Yeah, like I said, he's more like the Dark Apostle, so he's definitely in leagues with Zinch.
Yeah, and it's also, even the Thousand Suns is a really small range. All of their models are cool.
Oh yeah. Ever since they
So
got their own models, they've been great.
yeah, I mean they don't have anything that sucks. From like a miniature standpoint, I would say. But
Yes.
someday we may see them expanded in the way that like Death Guard were. But I imagine that'll be quite some time.
Just some more vehicles or some more specialized units, that'd be great. That's all I ask for.
Yeah, a
Uh,
vehicle or like special dreadnought would be really interesting.
I'm not asking for like an orc thing where you gotta give me 25 model kits. Just give me like one or two that's not characters. That's all I want. But yeah, I'll definitely be picking this guy up.
Eventually.
Probably on his own, unless I can find someone who wants Grey Knights, but I would have to see the box set to see if it's even worth picking up.
Right.
Because my T-Sun army is pretty filled out. But moving on, the news that'll make John happy. We got some 30K news. Actually, a leak from some guy who ordered that the banner, right?
Malagers.
Yeah. Instead, got a completely different model. I'm showing on screen right now what he got. Some what are they calling it? Praetorian?
Raider. Which
Praetor?
is the captain equivalent.
Yeah. So there he is, the guy on the right.
The
So
proportions are quite interesting.
Yes. Now he is standing on a rock, but I think I'll pick this up, and paint it up. I mean, Sons of Horus are cool, so. But my main project for 30K right now is a combination of Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and White Scars. But it's a cool model. I think this is one of the better Praetors that came out with.
Definitely an interesting model. It's just a funny story of how it got leaked.
Right. Interesting kind of leak.
And them just, what is this? The prototype? Them just sending out the prototype out instead of the actual
usually
model.
leaks are digital, not physical. I'm just like, oh, let's send a secret model to this random person.
So it's a new way, new Forge World marketing technique to
Oh, that's actually pretty funny if
get the
if that
hype
were
out.
true.
Yeah, we'll just send this to this one guy.
Yeah, get the hype up.
But yeah, probably not in that box set that we looked at last time, right?
No, I don't think there's like. I think those are generic. That leaked box set with generic characters. I'm sure.
And hopefully not, because if we're hoping that box set is plastic, this man is clearly resin.
Yes, which is okay. That's fine. He's a unique, unique sculpt for a generic data sheet. So that's fine with me.
Yeah, that's to be expected. For resin characters for 30K and for other resin characters that Forge World does. Wouldn't that be something if that box set that the pictures got leaked, if that was a resin starter set?
Oh my gosh, that'd be terrible.
That would just be
That would be the
that would
worst.
just be such a bummer.
Just imagine all the melted plastic as it's being shipped. I'm sure they would have a field day with that. But yeah.
Let's hope this cast does not turn out to be prophetic for that. He's a very cool preacher, and it is nice to know that they're revisiting some of the legions they started with.
Well, they gotta keep the supply coming, right?
Of course.
It's bad enough that they barely get anything. So it's good to see that we've gotten like 3 news stories about Horus Heresy. We got that banner guy, we got this leak, and then we got the leak of the potential 2-player starter set.
I mean, the pace of every now and then seems to be pretty consistent with the last 4 years or so of Horus Heresy.
Right.
Pretty much like after Battle for Prospero, Burning of Prospero, like there wasn't that much stuff that was coming out, but because it is a specialist game and it always has been by design. So things keep happening, which is good. And as long as things don't, just if the Forge World doesn't randomly break the mold and then the model's gone forever, they'll stay around and their library will get bigger and bigger.
Yes. But they just need to keep it a little consistent, a little news story that this game's still kind of alive. We're still supporting it. Here's
the monthly 30K article hasn't dropped yet, and it's been a month since the last one. So I'm curious what that means.
Yeah.
For Horus Heresy. There's something big coming up. Maybe the box sets.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I would imagine the box set would be something that they would have like a Twitch reveal day for, but I don't know.
It's a Christmas
Right.
thing. They're gonna make a whole Christmas video about it.
Well, if it's supposed to come in November, they probably got to start talking about it at least latest, September.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyways, very cool reveal, even though we probably shouldn't be seeing this at all.
Yeah.
At least not anytime soon. But it's out there now. But yeah, that's all the leaked images. I wanted to quickly go over some kill team news that we got. Starting with the las guns can kill from across the board. Just some quick rules that they've decided to show. So it looks like they're removing range, kind of, from the game, where you can just shoot across the board. I assume like flamers wouldn't be able to do that, but
yeah, they did say it would certain weapons would like clarify if they had like a range on them. I think that's actually a really cool idea. And it also just sort of they're really trying to go, you know, as little tape measure as possible in this game.
Yeah.
And it also just makes sense that you're in close quarters, and even honestly on the tabletop itself, one would imagine the effective range of a bolt rifle is farther than 30 inches would reflect on the table,
Right.
even in a full game of 40K. So this is kind of cool that, you know, in just at least Kill Team, you can experience, you know, range combat the way that would sort of make more sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think that'll be like, oh my gosh, so melee is useless because range is right.
Well, it's just with my limited knowledge, I mean, it'd make it more like Necromunda, where making it a very dense
Yes,
terrain would be the best way to go.
I agree, and I think that's what they're going for anyway. So
Yeah, and then I mean, I'll get this long las here, being able to do 3 mortal wounds.
yeah,
That's
they're adding.
crazy.
It seems like they're adding the crit system from
it's very reminiscent of Warcry.
Warcry.
right, yeah, which is cool. I like that.
Well, I mean, look at this. I mean, he's got. I'm looking at the long las guy here. He's got 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, 3 damage with his gun. I mean, at least I think that's his gun. They definitely are scaling up the wounds like we talked about last time. So, yeah. Mm, it looks like they finally going with what we've been saying for at least a year, in that they're finally copying the Warcry system.
Which is great.
Well, they're making some changes too, which is good. I think they're trying to find the sweet spot between Warcry, which is a, you know, really casual sort of pickup game. You know, you get models, you put them on the table, they die, it's over in, you know, half an hour or so, and something way more involved like Necromunda,
Right.
which I think they probably were straying too close to the Necromunda end of that spectrum with the last edition of Kill Team. Not that that is a bad thing, but it's just not, I think, where Kill Team needs to be. The thing for me is that Kill Team, particularly the last edition, it always sort of felt like it was in this weird place of like you could probably play a game of, you know, Combat Patrol 40K in less time than you could play Kill Team, with all the bookkeeping and all of the, you know, rolling for nerve tests and, you know, what your
Agree.
troops are going to be shaken, injuries, all those things, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And I think they're trying to get it to maybe be just a little more in depth than Warcry is. And I think I don't know if you guys think speculated on it a little bit. If you look on the official website, you can see it doesn't appear that all of the units that were playable in the original in the last version of Kill Team are going to be playable this time.
which is mostly the elites and stuff from what I
Yeah,
remember.
like custodians are a team you can still play, but like there are no terminators. From the look of it, they've sort of scaled back to when Kill Team got rebooted like 3 years ago.
Right. I think when we discussed this, I think John mentioned that elites and commanders would not be available in the first rendition of this set, but you know,
Yeah,
they
Yeah,
could potentially come back. You know, as they get
which
more and more into or tweak the rules. You know.
which like I think that's okay. The biggest problem, I mean, I'm a broken record at this point, but the biggest problem I have with Kill Team is it was just 40K light. So the fact that this is a new system, I think that's great
Oh
because you
yeah.
can have more granularity, with the game.
it needs to have its own identity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what Kill Team always struggled with.
And something that Warcry, I think, does very well from a modeling perspective that Kill Team has often struggled with is um, in Warcry, like if you want to get one of the teams that's made for Warcry, like if you want to get one of the, you know, the Chaos Warbands, like the 8.8, like Iron Golems or Untamed Beasts, you get that box and you're good. You have a team. You have a bunch of different things to choose from, and like you're ready to play. And if you want to play Kill Team, even some of the more versatile boxes like Gene Stealer Cultists or Skitari, like there's still a lot of stuff that was, part of the team that you would have to go and buy big boxes to get, maybe 1 or 2 models from.
Right.
With the Commandos and the Death Corps in the starter set, they were designed to be multi-kits, but they were also designed to be played in this game.
So
Right.
that's the thing I hope they do, is that I hope they reduce or increase the points of units so you can have less, right? Because right
Mhm.
now, so assuming the average kill team is like, if the Commandos and the Kriegers are the average kill team size for non-Marines, that would be great. Because then it fits the mold of, like, one squad kill
Right.
team. Right now, I think I mentioned last cast, the average size for a guard or kill team, and by extension Gene Stealer cults, Tau, Craft Worlds, Dark Eldar, it's like 15 to 20, well, maybe not Dark Eldar, but it's like 15 to 20 models.
Yeah.
Um that's a lot. Doesn't seem very, very small scale, I think, if you have 15 models on the table.
And at that point, the complexity in the game time goes up pretty
Yeah.
dramatically, and then it's like, why aren't we just playing 500 points of 40K?
Right.
Right.
I do hope that they either increase the points for models or reduce, or whatever they need to do to make it so that 10 Commandos is about right, 10 Kriegers is about right.
Yeah, this is a skirmish game.
I think they will. Let's just hope that the missions are good as well.
Yeah.
'Cause
Oh, so something. Oh, go ahead.
I said that's just what's gonna carry the game is their mission system.
Yeah, I think if good missions, but it seems to be an already cool rule system, I think it'll be good. One thing too, I realized is that I think with Commandos, and Kriegers getting new kits. I mean, maybe this doesn't make too much sense for Commandos because Orcs are coming out soon, but I kind of think Kill Team. I don't think Kill Team's gonna have like Kill Team only stuff like Underworld's Warbands or the 8.8 and the K9 Peoples.
Mhm.
Um, However, I do think Kill Team may be an excuse to release like or redo a kit, an old kit, and not tie it to a Codex release. For example, Space Marine Scouts. It would be cool to get a new Scout kit, right? And not tie it in with a new Codex Space Marines. Like, oh, Kill Team, Sergeant Cyrus's Blood Ravens or whatever.
Yeah, there's an opportunity there. I like also the Dawn of War 2 reference. So something this is actually doubles back to the facts that I was sharing with you earlier. Aside from special characters, none of those 25 Space Marine releases were resculpts.
Yeah, they're new units.
They were all new things. But both of these are resculpts.
Yes.
And I mean, one of them is a dramatic, like, oh my god, microphone dropped. Like, has Forge World finally been defeated? Level of resculpt.
We
Um,
only could hope for that.
yeah, someday.
Well,
Um, but
go
it would
ahead.
be a good opportunity for, like, can you imagine how cool it would be if, like, they could do, like a little kill team box that's like striking scorpions and mandrakes.
That'll
That
be
actually
awesome.
sounds like a really
And
boring box. But I
no,
think
it's
that's
not.
what you're angling towards.
It's awesome.
It's close combat only.
Hey man.
Your ranged weapon is throwing the sword.
No, I mean mandrakes throw little fireballs like Mario.
Well,
They
that's right.
do?
They
Yeah.
do. They do more wounds.
Well, I didn't know that. The models clearly need to be resculpted so I can more easily see that they throw fireballs.
Yeah.
And you know they will. We joke around, but they're gonna have like, but you're gonna complain that the flame is weirdly positioned, so it'll be all good.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, I mean, original Kill Team, excluding Nexus Pariah, or whatever it's called, uh, the only new sculpts that we ever had were Gillerpox versus the Rogue Trader, and then the Arena one, right? Those were the only exclusive Kill Team models that was ever
The
made for that game.
So you mean the terrain for Kill Team Arena?
No, I mean the models. Like,
It didn't come in models. It was just terrain.
Yeah. Kill Team Arena was just scenery.
oh, was
Pariah
it just
Nexus
scenery?
did have
Okay.
what Pariah Nexus did function basically as the sort of shadow release for those units.
Okay.
I think it's odd that Gellerpox infected and Star Striders haven't come back on their own. That seems to be a total just like what question mark that they aren't available because those are actually are great for Guild Team because they're designed for it and they're cool miniatures and it's weird that they're not available. But they'll get on it when they get on it. They have plenty of other fish to fry.
Yeah, I thought Arena was the one with the Rogue Trader or the Inquisitor with the sword leg.
No, that's
What is that? Yeah.
no, she's a rogue trader.
But there's
No.
you're talking about a little set of like 5 characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that?
It's Blackstone.
You're right.
Was it Black? Okay.
Yeah, that was the Blackstone expansion, I think.
Ah, all right. Well, I thought it was that. Anyways, we can move on from shooting here because we do also get some close combat details as
Yeah,
well.
interesting actually.
Which
What do,
is
what do you guys think about that parry system?
give us an explanation.
Okay, so when you're fighting in kill team, when you roll, let's say it's your turn to attack, right? And you rolled a hit. Now, disclaimer, I could be wrong, but this is how I read it. So let's say you roll 3 dice, right? And you hit twice. So, you choose which of those attacks are gonna be doing damage. And let's say one of them you pick to do damage and the opponent has to make 1 save. And the other you could keep as a parry dice or something. And when the opponent attacks you, you use that dice to cancel one of their hits.
Isn't that similar to how Shadow War Armageddon worked?
I forgot. So maybe
That sounds familiar. I actually do think that's a cool mechanic. Because like that game also was like based on like 2nd edition 40k, so it was like really old and weird. But I think that it had like you would sort of use your attacks as a resource to determine whether you were like parrying or attacking.
yeah, I think that's super cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. And it's also just something that is not in 40k, which gives this game further its own identity.
Yep, that's what we need. Yeah, I didn't see that part. But yeah, getting more and more combat stuff. So your close combat armies will be viable, and they're making some new distance sticks, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that because that's kind of blowing up the community right now.
Yeah, the 1, 2, 3, and 6-inch stick.
I mean, I'm just laughing because I play FFG games, which don't use tape measures. I mean, Will knows that in Star Wars Legion and X-wing, that like you cannot play that game with tape measures and D6s. You need the special dice.
Yeah,
Special.
the dice for sure. You mean like you could theoretically measure them out, but yeah, like having the measuring sticks also just cuts down on a lot of just for a skirmish game like this is just you want to spend as little time doing bookkeeping and things as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Also, measuring sticks are just objective. I don't want to say objectively, but it's theoretically more accurate than a tape measure because you could place it all the way down, while tape measure is kind of unwieldy for doing precise measurements.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, well, it's interesting because like we just said, it's getting more and more stuff to get it beyond its own identity, and it's I don't know. I think it's shaping up to be a pretty solid game. Definitely not as boring as it turned out to be, in my opinion.
I'm just glad that it's a rework and not a new edition. I think the last edition was just overburdened with updates and expansions and rules, and I think there were too many things that were playable. This most likely will add things eventually, but I think the restraint is important to keeping the game not just feeling like like a smaller, more unwieldy version of the main game.
Well, that's how I feel about a lot of the 40k side of GW. Is they're always like, we need to escalate it to make it more epic, and then they keep going, and then it gets too ridiculous and unbalanced, and depending on who you are, a lot of unfun. That's how I felt with the 40k example. They're like, all right, let's add flyers. All right, let's add titans, and then we're gonna keep adding more and more stuff, and then it's just like, how do you balance this stuff?
There's a lot of additive rules and not as many like transformative updates.
Right.
So yeah, it's a difficult thing. It's also because currently Warhammer 40,000 is so tied to the physical releases of rules
Mhm.
in a way that Age of Sigmar isn't. It isn't. It isn't. I mean, you still, I think you're expected to pay a little bit more if you want the full rules to play with it. But like the Broken Realms books that just came out, mostly were optional in terms of rules. You can get them if you wanted to, but like you can mostly just get them because you felt like it. Whereas these like Warzone books that they're doing for 40K, those are, yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, well,
Like, what
Yeah,
even happened in Warzone Carcharodon?
who knows, right? Interesting though, like how Matt mentioned that you mentioned that 40K is just trying to escalate it. Yeah, because like I just realized that compared to AOS where things are generally more expensive in points, so you don't have to bring as much stuff. Like my Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, right, costs more than a Bane Blade
In terms of points,
in terms of points. And both games are on a 2,000 point system. I mean, they're different games, but still,
also your Zombie Dragon probably costs significantly less in real money
yeah.
than the Baneblade does. And if you build him as Vordry, that's the name character for Castellet, right?
Yes,
If you do that, he's worth even more points.
even more points. Yep. Yeah, and 40K just not not as I don't want to say not as elite. I guess it's just more models on the table, straight up.
Yeah, you need more stuff. Gene Stealer cults, in theory, are so cool to me, but the practicalities of actually owning,
Oh my
purchasing, and
god.
painting that army makes
Yeah.
it an impossibility.
Like even if I got a 2K Gene Stealer Cult army for free, like just painting it would feel like a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and that was sort of one of the things that kind of killed Warhammer Fantasy Battle 8th Edition, right? I mean, that was a game. If I could be so bold, you really needed tons and tons and tons of infantry in that last edition. Like they were, hoping to see like 80 skeletons in
Under
like a
skeleton
unit.
archers.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, like you need. I had a buddy who ended up splitting 7 times the Island of Blood starter set for those clan rats just because he needed so many clan rat slaves because they were like 2 points. Yeah, that's horde armies are really fun, but there's got to be some restraint, and also just like. But again, what you're saying, Matt, about just like them adding more and more stuff, like they got to be really careful about that, because then they have to do things like this. Like this kill team thing is invalidating all of the books from the last edition, right? Like
Yeah.
they have to start fresh because it wasn't working because they added too much stuff and it wasn't good. And
And
people will be annoyed about
I
that.
do hope that that design mentality isn't as applied to Kill Team and just add more stuff.
Yeah,
No, honestly, like playing Warcraft, I don't think adding elites would unbalance the game if they do it properly because I think the granularity would make it balanced. Commanders, I don't know yet because 40K commanders compared to AOS commanders, I don't know how that's gonna work, but
Well, I think for me, I'm just gonna speak on my half. The terrain setup and uh just the how you play kill team, old kill team, was just
yeah.
so boring because the terrain did so much, and I remind me if I'm wrong here. Kill team, you had to set up the terrain per the diagram, right? Like, am I?
Yes, yes.
So there's a lot of open spaces there. So it's just like, all right, I hide behind a wall, you hide behind a wall. We both take pot shots at each other until one of us dies, and then we start making our moves, kind of deal. Unless you were a close combat army, and then you just had to hope to God that you could run to terrain and get yourself saved. And
So you're saying
then,
it, oh go ahead, go ahead.
I mean, it just got a little bit. It was fine with elites being added in because adds more variety, more unit choices, especially to those armies that were whatever. And then I think what broke it for me was when they added characters, or HQ choices. I didn't like the inclusion of the HQ choices. But
I
that
mean,
was just my
notably that was
opinion.
their last big expansion. I think that was a problem for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um, Even though I didn't play very much of the last 2 editions of Kill Team, I did really like Kill Team Arena. I was in a position where I actually got to play a lot of that for work when I was working at the GW store. Um, And I thought that was really fun because it cut down on a lot of like the setup and like the terrain and line of sight problems. Which I think in any game where you have 3D terrain, a line of sight is just a challenge. Nobody has quite, reinvented the wheel on figuring out how to make that work in an efficient way where there's like no shadow of a doubt as to like whether a unit can see a unit or not.
Right.
But this does seem to be looking up for Kill Team.
No, we can only hope. I mean, they redid everything. So I mean, when was what was the last Kill Team thing that wasn't Pariah Nexus? Do you guys know?
The last like Kill Team, I think the Kill Team 2.0 box, did maybe that come out last year?
Really? I didn't.
Yeah, it's pretty recent, right? When did the second edition of this Kill Team come out?
They never had a second edition. They just released a new starter set because the first one, the Mechanicus Gene Sealer one, was out of print.
Oh, okay.
Here's a starter set. Actually, that was controversial because the rule books was the same. Sorry, the rule book was the same. No FAQs implemented, etc., etc.
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 2019, but okay. It's a lot earlier. But yeah, I was gonna say we didn't get anything for a whole year about Kill Team. But yeah, I guess if we got something in 2020, then I guess I stand corrected. They did get some support, but not much. Which is why I thought this game was pretty much dead until Pariah Nexus reared its head in December. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what we do.
The last starter set came out August of 2019.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
And it's weird because like Shadow War Armageddon, which preceded Kill Team's rework in 2018, was also only out for like 7 months or something. We've actually been on this edition of Kill Team for a while.
yeah, because it came out in 2018, right? Kill Team or 20.
Yeah, if that box that had the that OG Kill Team box, I can't even remember what was in it. I just remember that's when they released the new sort of buildings for 40K that we've been using since then. But yeah,
So it's been about a normal, almost a normal 40K new edition, Agency War new edition kind of thing. So just didn't age too well, unfortunately, in my opinion.
yeah, it needed a new shot in the arm, which hopefully this will do it. Because in theory, like these skirmish games are really really exciting, but it would also be nice if they were better games too.
I have a lot of faith that this is going to be a good game, just from reading what they've revealed. And again, the main things I'm looking for, just to sum it up, is one, granular wounds, and they're already doing that. That's awesome. And two, making it so you don't need 15 to 20 guardsmen or boys for an
Yeah.
average team. Then perfect. No game is perfect, but perfect game, right? To me.
Yeah, much closer to the vision of what this should be.
Anything to do quick games to get my friends into the hobby, I enjoy. As long as it's fun to play. Because that in the end, that's all this game is. Just like how Warcry is an introduction for AOS.
Right.
This should be a better way to get people into 40K, where all they have to do is buy one unit box and then play a game.
Yeah, like it can be like it definitely emphasis on it can be like a potential way for people to get into the hobby who are like new to it. And it definitely, just because of I mean, to play the most recent edition of Kill Team, you needed a lot of expansions and a lot of stuff. Some of those things that have been, email me or out of print forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fresh start is definitely the right play, even though obviously some people are annoyed that a lot of their purchases, were not so evergreen. But it's that, or the range would just fade into obscurity.
Well, I mean, they can always play it. If they have the books, they can always play those editions with their friends.
Yeah, it's funny to me. I always forget how many people just sort of, when a new edition comes along, they just sort of get off the horse. Like, because I was reading comments about people talking about the new Deathcore of Krieg stuff, and like a lot of people really don't like them, and some people love them, and people like guys like, yeah, this is why me and my friends only play 6th edition. 6th edition, for real?
As long as it's not 7th edition, I approve.
Yeah, 5th edition is way better than that.
But yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. August is when this stuff comes out, so I know we'll definitely be getting more and more stuffs over the coming weeks. But that's that. Unless you guys got any final thoughts.
Hype.
All right.
That's it. Hype.
Well, to kill the hype, I would like to start with some depressing news here. We also got Darktide. I don't know if you guys are looking forward to this video game or not.
It was.
But yeah, it's getting delayed, unfortunately.
That's okay.
Darn.
See, I feel like delays, if it means they're gonna make the game better, is like a good thing. Because usually, like, if I just think of all the games that like people tend to think are like disastrously bad, many of them were like rushed into production. It's
Mhm.
a bummer to have to wait. But like, if his mean is a good game later, is okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, well, I can think of 2 examples that were disastrous for getting delayed, but it's best not to talk about those.
But we must. Which are the ones that occur?
Well, okay, now there's 3. So there's the infamous Kickstarter one that's called Star Citizen,
Oh yeah.
which has been delayed forever. There was the one that everyone got, No Man's Sky. That got delayed like twice, I think, before that became a buggy mess.
Yeah, very very ambitious game.
And then you got the most recent one, Cyberpunk 77 or 2077.
But see, I thought that one was a case of they should have delayed it again.
Yes,
Yeah, but
It
you
didn't
can't
play
you can't keep saying that we're gonna delay to this date and then be like, yeah, well, we can't make that deadline, so we gotta push it back. I mean, they did that 3 or 4 times
Mhm.
before. I'm pretty sure Sony and whoever else said that you have to release it this day or something like that, which is
Yeah,
why we got the disaster.
and it does hurt studios to have delays. Like, delays cost money, as opposed to generating, in addition to generating like annoyance from the part of the consumer. But yeah, I mean, if is this the first time Dark Tide has been delayed?
Yeah, this is the
Yes.
first time. Well, because I mean, it's the first time, but honestly, we've never got a release date for it. They've never said that it's gonna be out. They vaguely said it was gonna be out late 2021,
Mhm.
but they never said like, yeah, it's gonna be out December 12th or whatever. It's always like, yeah, late 2021, it'll be out. So, sad Inquisitor noises coming from me, as I won't be able to purge any heretics, but hopefully the delay does it good and it's nice and polished.
I think so. I think it's just gonna help.
Yep, we can only hope. Spring of 2020 too, so nice spring game. But now that we're done with that, do you guys got any other news topics you want to talk about before we go to hobby rants?
No, I think I'm good.
Did you know, Matt, that Grand Alliance Death in Age of Sigmar only has one resin model left?
I did not, because I only play one Death Army.
Isn't that great news?
Which one?
That damn Vargulf.
That's crazy.
If they would resculpt the Vargulf, Grand Alliance Death would have no resin or metal miniatures.
So crazy.
Well, there's still a
Now,
bunch of resin Tomb King models, so they gotta fix that.
well, Catacross just,
I
shake
blame
his head.
Cursed City.
Blame Cursed City for Tomb Kings?
No, for the Vargulf.
Oh,
If they just named the Vargskir Vargulf, problem solved.
Well, but then he would have to be in both. I mean, they could also the Vargolf, thankfully, because it's a hero model, they could easily just do. They could have like a 2-person battle box, and then Vargolf resculpted, and then pose him so he's opposite pose of the hands to the Varg gear. But yeah, it's literally just that. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Um, it's it's when I was doing that research to figure out how many kits that orcs actually get. I got to find out some other fun facts.
Nice.
Someday death will be fixed.
No rush on that. But I want to bring something else up. John, did you get your
Yeah.
Beast Snagga box?
I did.
You did? Oh. You made it through the queue and everything?
Incredible.
I was on vacation too. I was in Joshua Tree having breakfast with my friend, but like, we're eating some salmon sandwiches, and I was there on my phone waiting for the queue.
Nice. Yeah, I had a friend who wanted to get it. Unfortunately, he didn't get it, but
Stores will have it at least.
Joshua Tree is an appropriate location to pre-order the Beast Snagga box because
Yes.
it looks like the surface of an orc planet.
Yep.
well,
Actually,
it's sold out. So at least online. Obviously, other stores will probably have it, just like everything else.
Yeah, I would imagine it's going to be a small allocation though.
Yeah. Well, it's no surprise that it's sold out.
It's a tricky business too because since it's a 40K box, that codex, this is the release of it. So if you want to play with your existing orc stuff, you got to get it.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not able to wait until the actual releases, which they have not said, did they say that August is when the pre-orders for the rest of the orc stuff goes up?
That I didn't know.
I don't think I caught that. If that was true,
you said soon TM.
I don't think they committed to a date.
Soon TM, exactly.
So I was like, unlike unlike a different game system that Games Workshop makes, like you need that book if you want to play orcs, or something that looks like that book.
Just print out the cover and just tape it on your old orc codex, and there you go. It's official. That's like the orkiest thing you could do.
Yeah, it just transforms the inside. Just believe that it's changed.
Well then, Will, since you've been gone for so long, how's the hobby rants going for you?
The hobby part of it has been tricky. I've been traveling a lot, so I unfortunately really did not get very much hobby done since last time I was on. But I have, reset up my area. I'm doing some painting, trying to get my Gloomspite Gets Army, parade ready for some AOS. I've had a unit of 60 Stabas that has been missing 4 models for like 5 years. And those are the ones that are on my table right now. So
Nice.
procrastination will finally end. It only took 5 years.
Hey,
Cool.
that's still better than all the orc models that I have. So, still waiting to be painted.
So what are you working on, Matt?
Well, game wise, I got another Star Wars Legion in.
Nice.
My friend made a Hoth table, so we did a little battle of Hoth.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was nice. It was cool. I unfortunately lost. I mean, there's only like total. I think there was only 3 models left on the board.
What faction were you playing?
The good guys, the Imperium.
And what faction was your opponent playing?
The bad guy, Rebel Scum. So
Clearly, I'm seeing FFG has some rebel scum favoritism here.
I know.
You only lost because there was no chance of victory.
I think I lost because he had a lot of characters. He got that. He had the Leia. He had Chewie. He had Solo. I was like, man, these guys are hard to kill.
That's a lot of plot armor.
Yeah.
What do you have? You have Vader?
No. All I had was Veers.
Oh.
I had Veers and like 4 units of snow troopers and 2 ATSTs, and then the gun emplacement. I can't remember the name.
Deva.
Yeah, that. So I had that, and so it was close. he snuck the victory out. The goal was like to capture little turrets on the board. So he unfortunately got solo to kill off one of my snow troopers capturing an objective. So unlucky. Next time, the good guys will win.
Yes, next time.
And then I finally got in my first game of official AOS 3.0. And I must say, Purple Sun, they neutered my boy. I can't believe this. I was so disappointed of how bad it is.
Yeah, they don't just die anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it killed him on it kills him on 6s, right? Back then, before this edition, if it passed over anyone. Sorry.
You just D3 more wounds now, right? Something.
Yeah, now it's it's an 8 to cast, so it's already hard to cast, and then it's just like, all right, 2 through 5, I do D3 mortal wounds. On a 6, I do D6 mortal wounds. So it's not even worth it anymore. The only reason I took it because I was looking at the old rules of Purple Sun that I found on the official GW website, and not in the. And then when I got the book in hand and saw what it really did, it's like, oh, well, I just wasted 70 points.
I think the redeeming factor of Purple Sun, I think it's the only endless spell generic one right now that can affect multiple units with mortal wounds. The rest you have to pick one unit.
Yeah, I think that checks out. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, it's not as exciting, but I think that's its main. It's a boring advantage to be sure, but that's its advantage.
Yeah, so that was a team game. So I teamed up with my Night Haunt teamed up with the Lizardmen against who are the Pox Kings.
Oh, the Blight Lords.
Blight
Wait,
Lords.
Did you say you were teaming up with the Lizardmen, or you were fighting them?
I teamed up with the Lizardmen.
Oh, okay. Because the Lizardmen and the Purple Sun of Xerius, as you know, have a history fraught with conflict.
Yeah.
Of killing them on an initiative test in 8th edition.
That was the best.
That's good. At least the Purple Sun got to not destroy the dinosaurs this time.
Yeah, so it was against the Blight Kings and the Kruleboyz. So those were the teams, and then we found out the Kruleboyz didn't only have one battle line in that box set. So that's kind of weird to find out.
Yeah, it is odd. The get you by rules for Kruleboyz are maybe needed to go. Maybe needed to go in the stove for a little longer. But they'll have full rules soon.
Don't forget the endless spells move twice a turn, and will hit people twice a turn.
Well, when you say that, you're saying because the first move is I place it and then it moves after the hero phase, right? Or does it actually move?
It's at the end of at the end of a hero phase.
Of a hero phase, so both you and your opponent's hero phase, the endless spell will move and do damage.
Ah, okay. I didn't realize that part.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big deal. Because that was actually the game we played, John, where I summoned a Ravanax Gnashing Jaws. I got like insane value out of that.
Yeah, I did a lot with that.
I got really lucky, and we just sort of the way the game went. You weren't in a position to disbind it when I first cast it, and like you were doing other stuff with your spells, so you didn't banish it. But like it probably only killed like I don't know, maybe 11 models. But some of the models were like high value models.
Like because Graveguard die as much as a zombie.
Yeah,
that's pretty powerful. I think realizing that they move twice. I think the thing with endless spells is that you really have to read their war scroll card. Like there's an endless, I forgot which endless spell it was, but it does its effect twice when you place it and then move it. So when you place it, it does its. I think I'm not sure if it's a damage spell or if it's Life Swarm, which heals, and then when you move it, it does its thing again. So it's stuff like that. I think for endless spells, to make sure you read like the new war scroll, because there's some really subtle changes like that make them better than they actually are.
And there's a couple of them that only do things if you're building your spell list around them. Like, spell portals, obviously, and Geminids. Like, you really have to have an idea in mind of what your magic, is going to be used for if you're going to include those at all.
Right.
Yeah, well, I unfortunately didn't get to use too much. So even though it could have moved in the second hero phase, it got dispelled during their magic phase. So, and then after I saw the pitiful damage that it would do, I was like, not worth it.
I would try it again, not knowing that you could. It moves twice.
Okay.
Might be worth it, and it affects multiple units.
Yeah, well, I'll give it another shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about the new Purple Sun is like it's more reliable than it was, but it doesn't wipe out units like it used to. So it definitely has changed dramatically. Though, if you do have the access to the Malign Sorcery one that's really fun now that wasn't that good before is the Quicksilver Swords, because they ignore ward saves. I don't know if anything else in the game does that right now.
Interesting.
Well, I haven't checked, but probably the Blood Rack Viper. I mean, that just insta kills.
That's true.
There you go.
Assuming you roll over their wound value, which not hard to do on
Yeah.
1 wound models.
Right, and 3 wound models like Retributor's Evocators with 3 wounds. It's
Yeah.
50-50, just kill one. It's pretty
Yep.
good.
But yeah, so it was fun. Learning the battle tactics was interesting mechanic. Not used to it. It kind of reminded me a little of a Maelstrom in 40K,
Yeah.
where you just had a new objective each turn.
That is an interesting comparison.
I mean, it's clearly different, but it kind of like that, where you just get a new objective each turn. Obviously, you have to complete that objective that turn and score it or discard it, but yeah, a lot of stuff there. And then since all these people are new, our game took a little longer to complete, but I think we all learned a lot out of it.
Yeah.
What about you, John? How you doing?
Hobby wise, didn't have a lot of games this week because I went on vacation. But I was slowly working on my Sanguinary Guard for 30K. But I did play a lot of the new DLC for Total War Warhammer, the one with Taurox and Rambo Skink. It's pretty fun. They reworked Beastmen in that game, and they feel fun now, and not just like I can't think of a creative way to say how boring they are.
And not like Beastmen.
And they're gonna like Beastmen. But yeah, great DLC, final DLC for that game. Definitely worth picking up if you care about Beastmen because it makes Beastmen playable. In fact, makes them more than playable. And the new Lizardman stuff is cool. You get Troglodyons and the flying snake thing, so that's cool. But I've just been playing a lot of that, and I probably will hop on that game after this cast while I finish the Sanguinary Guard.
Nice. Well, unless you guys got anything else you want to talk about, I think we can call it here.
Well, I have something I want to talk about, Matt.
All right, what do you want to talk about, Will?
Did you know that 39% of the Craft World's range is either resin or metal?
Oh my gosh. Lore
With
Master.
19 kits. That's a high score. Why Skaven only have 14 resin or metal kits, Matt?
It's Fact Master Will right here.
Dude, I got them all day.
This is so fun.
You guys say them for the other episodes.
The orc thing is crazy. That's a lot of orc kits.
I had to double check it a lot, but it's a ton.
Space Marines, if you count the characters, but I just like evidence that against the idea that Games Workshop only cares about Space Marines, because it means saying they only care about Stormcats. That's even easier to disprove, but I think that's a neat fact, and it's like
it's an interesting trend too, because noticing for Space Marines how the characters. I think 4 of those Space Marine characters, including like Ragnar and Crow and things, those are resculpts. But typically, Space Marines has gone the direction of only forward, only making new things. But the fascinating one is in the same time frame, Codex Chaos Space Marines got 15 new kits, right? 11 of them were resculpts, which is a massive amount of resculpts. like I couldn't find anything that compared to that. Like, not even like Gravelords or GSG Gloomspike kits, which is what I play. Like those are like 6-7 resculpts, and then everything else is new kits. But like for like Chaos, for some reason in 40K, it's all about like making HD versions of the things we already have.
I do. I mean, I think that makes more sense for 40K, where it's it already got more attention because the game didn't die at some point.
Right.
Was rebooted.
Didn't
But
get
yeah,
sacrificed to the warp.
yep. For the greater purposes. Thanks, Archeon. You're the best.
He sure is.
Well then, I think I'm gonna put an end to these facts, and thanks everyone for staying with us, and hopefully you learned something new from Fact Master Will over here. And we'll catch you guys next time.
There, everyone.
Until next time.